Once upon a time, in the golden age of the world, there was a young goddess named Persephone, daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest. She loved nothing more than to dance in the fields of her mother's realm, swinging from tree to tree like a playful kitten and frolicking with the nymphs and dryads until the sun went down. One day, Persephone decided to pick some flowers in a meadow. As she skipped merrily through the tall grasses, she heard a nearby voice singing sweetly, and seeing that it was getting late, she thought she'd better get home before sunset. So she sat on a nearby stone to change into her sandals. But no sooner had she done so when the ground beneath her feet split open. Up burst a great lord, fully armed and astride a chariot drawn by 4 black horses. And though he was as dark as night, his eyes blazing like torches, his appearance was majestic beyond compare. And Persephone knew in her heart that he must be a god. "Who are you?" she asked him. "I am Hades," he said, "god of the dead and king of the underworld. And since you have just sat on my throne, you are now my bride." And before Persephone could even cry out, he snatched her up and whipped his horses into a frenzy, plunging into the darkness of the earth with her. He took her down a great hall, studded with jewels, where 3 doors stood open, each guarded by a 3-headed dog. They passed through the first door and arrived at a spacious courtyard surrounded by high walls, where a banquet was laid out fit for a queen. Then, passing through the second door, they came to a garden filled with all manner of trees and flowers, the like of which Persephone had never seen before. But Hades brought her to a third and final door, which was locked, sealed with a magic spell. "This is where you will live," he said, handing her a golden key. "But I warn you, if you use this key to leave, you shall never return." Persephone thanked him graciously and went inside. But oh, how desolate it was! There were no windows or plants, only bare rock walls stretching as far as she could see. Save for a small hearth at one end, which she soon discovered was enchanted to provide both warmth and light. Hopeless, she threw herself onto a nearby couch and fell fast asleep. When she awoke, she wept bitter tears, calling out to her mother. But no one answered, for the dead and the living cannot hear one another. In her despair, she began to eat the pomegranate seeds she'd picked earlier, one after the other, until she'd finished the whole fruit. Now, you may not know this, but those were no ordinary seeds. They were seeds of power, and whoever ate them was forever bound to the underworld. And so, when the magic spell wore off and Demeter came looking for her, Hades was able to keep her prisoner in his realm. Hearing this, Demeter grew furious and swore that her daughter would never return. With that, she withdrew her gifts from the world. The crops withered, the animals died, and the earth froze over. Winter had come, and it would last until Persephone was returned to her. The gods and goddesses, seeing the suffering of the earth, gathered in council to decide what to do. Finally, Zeus proposed a compromise. Persephone would spend 1/3 of every year with her mother, bringing spring and summer to the earth, and 2/3 of every year with Hades, ruling the underworld and keeping it ever vigilant against the growing power of the dead. Thus, Persephone became the queen of the underworld, and her mother was granted the power to control the seasons. So it is that even today, when Persephone is with Demeter, the earth flourishes and is fruitful. But when she is with Hades, the world falls into winter. For the dead, however, there is no joy in winter, and so they stir not from their rest, but wait patiently for the coming of spring. The end.